across the globe in famous cities and exotic resorts. There are restaurants that most of us can only dream of visiting. We'll glimpse inside these exclusive spaces. We'll get a taste of the lifestyle that goes with them. And we'll meet the men and women who have made them what they are.
C'est prêt, l'araignée?
This time,
you know, Nicole Kidman loved this dessert.
I put everything on the table when I cook. I want the diners to remember what they have in the plate.
We rip apart the restaurant experience and put it back together.
Cannes, on the stunning French Riviera. Known for its sun, palm trees, and super yachts. Loved for its glamour by the rich and famous. This is a place to see and be seen. And that also goes for the city's highest-ranked restaurant, where exquisite food and sumptuous location combine.
We have the expression, our pleasure, it's your pleasure.
Set in the seafront Grand Hyatt Hotel Martinez, this is La Palme d'Or.
When you choose La Palme d'Or, you want to see the view. When you arrive on the terrace, when you see the Mediterranean, just wow. It's unique in Cannes. The impression you have the sea arrive at the feet. It's really amazing. And when you arrive at the restaurant, time stops. You arrive at 12 o'clock and you finish at 5 o'clock. It's not a problem.
This 30-cover restaurant, beloved of celebs, does not just rely on an incredible view to impress. The food is just as special.
C'est parti devant un château saignant et un pigeon rosé.
L'essentiel et le noyau de tout ceci, c'est le produit et le goût. Mais ce produit et ce goût, il faut l'habiller, il faut l'expliquer, il faut l'accompagner.
Chef Christian Sinicropi holds 2 Michelin stars with a menu that is not your average French fare.
C'est une cuisine latine, régionale et locale, avec une architecture, on va dire, visuelle contemporaine.
Every culture has a base, a foundation of technique and cuisine that it will always be known for.
C'est parti devant une asperge à la carte et 2 asperges mouvement.
If you think of France, for example, the standard by which all Western cuisine was created,
21.
they are still cooking with such a strong sense of place and a sense of identity.
The restaurant has an à la carte menu, as you'd expect. But instead of a traditional starter, main course and dessert, Chef Sinicropi's menu presents sets of movements, a kind of culinary symphony.
Le mouvement, pour moi, symbolise la régénérescence, la remise en question, l'évolution.
In each symphony, one of 7 key ingredients is prepared in 3 different ways, served one after the other. Explaining this unusual approach is the domain of the restaurant manager, Cédric.
When the guests discover the menu, where is the starter, where is the main course, we explain the movements. In the first time, it's not really easy to understand.
Where a less daring menu might painstakingly list ingredients and provenance, here the approach is more whimsical. This lyrical take springs from the creative imagination of the polymath chef.
J'écris mes textes moi-même. Il est important pour moi d'exprimer ce que je ressens, même à travers des mots. Je ne suis pas simplement un cuisinier. Si j'avais été simplement un cuisinier, je me serais ennuyé. J'aime l'art, j'aime la littérature, j'aime la philosophie. Je peins, je sculpte, je crée. Donc l'écriture, pour moi, me permet d'exprimer émotionnellement et sincèrement et de décrire cette énergie et ce mouvement. Elle est décrite également à travers la céramique, ce côté visuel.
In the hills above Cannes, Christian takes his involvement with his dishes much further than most chefs. In his small studio, he and his wife Cathy design and make all the restaurant's tableware.
Je travaillais dans l'hôtellerie et il y a 5 ans, je me suis formée aux Beaux-Arts de Valoris, qui est quand même un village très réputé pour la céramique. Et puis on s'y est mis tout de suite.
Quand je veux quelque chose, c'est rapide, c'est spontané, c'est unique, c'est sur mesure. Je dis voilà, c'est une autonomie totale.
Typically, Christian will design the dishes he calls supports. It falls to Cathy to realise his vision.
Une fois que c'est fait, elle me le montre, je regarde, des fois je l'embête, je fais non, c'est pas ça, il faut recommencer. Ok.
Je fais mon mari en cuisinier, caricature, qu'on appelle le mini-moi.
Alors le mini-moi, c'est une forme de petite caricature. Et je pense que ce côté ludique, ce côté cuisinier, qui symbolise le verre avec sa toque, sa barbe et sa fine courbe, vous voyez que je suis très fin, qui symbolise pas simplement moi, qui symbolise aussi l'ensemble.
Qui est donc en mise en décoration sur la table pour l'accueil des clients. Ça les amuse.
Christian also collaborates with other French artists.
C'est l'assiette qu'on a fait avec Alex One. Il est venu ici. Et ensuite, donc, on a créé la forme. Cathy a fabriqué. Et chaque support a un dessin différent. Ça, c'est la cloche avec le bec. Parce que c'est un des personnages de ces tableaux, de son œuvre. À chaque fois, il y a un pingouin. Pour moi, ce qui est important, c'est une cuisine qui doit nourrir les 5 sens. La première chose que le client perçoit lorsque le plat arrive, c'est le visuel. Il faut que ça flatte l'œil, il faut que ça flatte l'esprit. Et quand on va ouvrir, on va avoir donc encore une deuxième fois la vue. On va sentir, on va avoir envie de goûter, on va goûter. Et quand on va goûter, vu qu'on joue également avec des textures, on va entendre en bouche la texture qui va résonner sur l'os de la mâchoire, et donc on va entendre ce que l'on mange. Ma cuisine, c'est une cuisine, comme je vous l'ai dit, qui est spontanée, qui est sincère. Je ne mélange pas dans l'assiette les choses, je les superpose. Le mélange se fera par la bouche. La bouche va broyer, libérer les saveurs, libérer l'énergie, libérer les émotions et les sensations. Et ensuite, ça va nourrir l'esprit, le cerveau. Tout ce que nous faisons, c'est vraiment dans une démarche de donner et de partager des émotions, des envies. Et pour moi, la cuisine, c'est le reflet de l'âme.
Ça veut dire que ce que l'on fait, ça touche les gens.
It is restaurant manager Cédric's job to make sure front-of-house service lives up to the chef's high ideals.
On insiste. The service is really, really delicate. And if you want to have the perfect service, it's necessary to arrive at the table in the same time. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Allez, on recommence.
All the various roles are very important and they work as a team. It's a bit like a football team, for example. You've got your defenders, you've got your midfield, you've got your attack, you've got the lone striker, and everybody has to play in position, making sure that the whole experience for every single guest is second to none.
Non, là, ça va pas, c'est complètement désordonné, on recommence. Derrière, on recommence. Le vin, il se pose sur le vin. It's really important when you arrive in the large table to go all around the table. If you want to arrive to the perfection, make a lot of training. S'il vous plaît. Le premier, celui qui est là, il va là, d'accord? Il va servir 7 et 8. Celui qui suit, il va aller là, ici et ici, d'accord? Celui qui suit, il va aller ici et ici. Et celui qui est en queue de wagon, il prend le 1 et le 2. C'est logique. It's really important to have the respect for the guest. And when you arrive for the perfection, it's working all the day. It's like a ballet. I try, and if not correct, I retry. Allez, on la refait une fois. And if not correct, I retry. One more time, on y va. Each day, each day, each day, each day. Ok. Merci, messieurs. Allez, on se met en place. Bon service.
Each year, for 2 hot summer weeks, the French city of Cannes plays host to the cream of Hollywood, in town for the world-famous film festival. And for 30 years, many have come to dine here, at the 2 Michelin star restaurant named for the festival's top prize.
Pour nous, le Festival de Cannes, c'est un grand moment. Et nous avons la chance de recevoir le président du jury et le jury dans notre restaurant La Palme d'Or.
Each year, the restaurant pulls out all the stops in preparation for a grand jury dinner. In recent years, Christian has dedicated the evening to the jury's president, cooking for some of the biggest names in the movie business.
Steven Spielberg, Nanni Moretti, Robert De Niro, Jean Campion, les frères Cohen.
Christian goes further, crafting dishes and plates that honor his illustrious guests.
Alors l'idée, elle est vraiment venue parce qu'on adorait Tim Burton. Et quand on a su que c'était Tim Burton le président du jury, on s'est dit c'est pas possible, il faut qu'on fasse des assiettes pour lui.
Nous avions fait l'arbre, un arbre en céramique qui représentait un petit peu Big Fish, Alice au pays des merveilles. Et nous avions fait également, Cathy avait réalisé le chapeau haute forme avec le dessert au chocolat dessus.
For Steven Spielberg, there was homage to Lincoln and, of course, Jaws.
Steven Spielberg, quand il a vu arriver tous ces cuisiniers avec la musique des Dents de la Mer, il s'est arrêté, il a dit, oh, il a ri et il a dit it's crazy.
What separates the excellent from the good is single-mindedness on the part of the chef, a desire just to do their own thing. Basically, you're in the hands of someone else's eccentricities. When I think of all the greatest restaurant experiences I've had in the world, it tends to be somebody doing something that you wouldn't expect to work.
Christian often tests out new dishes on restaurant manager Cédric and sommelier Dominique. It's a chance to discuss wine pairings and service.
It's really important for the team to appropriate the spirit of the chef.
Tout ce que nous voulons, c'est c'est que pendant le temps que les personnes sont chez nous dans notre restaurant, qui rentrent dans notre univers, cet univers de plaisir, de 5 sens, qui passe un moment de sérénité, d'émotion, de partage, de découverte.
Christian's culinary universe has evolved over many years.
Ça fait 29 ans que je suis dans ce métier. 29 ans que j'accepte de me remettre en question. Je suis un créatif, c'est comme ça. C'est une maladie, c'est pas une maladie, j'en sais rien. En tout cas, c'est un ressenti, c'est une drogue, c'est une addiction.
One thing's for sure, it's been a lifelong labor of love.
J'ai fait ce métier, c'est pour faire plaisir. L'essentiel pour moi, c'est toutes les personnes qui viennent nous voir, qui nous font confiance et qui nous font l'honneur de venir découvrir notre cuisine. Pour moi, c'est l'essentiel.
Appearances can be deceptive. On an ordinary day, in the affluent Chicago suburb of Lincoln Park, behind this anonymous facade, something remarkable is happening. Forget signage, windows, and conventional menus. If you come to dine here, at Alinea, you should expect the unexpected. On the shores of Lake Michigan, waves of Greek, Italian, and Jewish immigrants have given Chicago a rich culinary heritage. In the heart of classic homespun American comfort food, Alinea aims to take guests out of their comfort zone.
What we try to create here is a dining experience that encompasses all of the senses and evokes emotion.
What Alinea offers is not just fine dining, but something altogether more radical and innovative.
We want to go beyond just the notion of food as nourishment and flavor.
The restaurant's radical approach has paid off. 3 Michelin stars, 4 years running, and a regular spot on the world's best restaurant lists. And a host of individual awards for chef and co-owner Grant Achatz.
We rip apart the restaurant experience and put it back together. There's that element of being like a child, right? You're exploring, the world is huge, and you have this curiosity that you get to kind of pick away at.
And what could be more childlike than balloons?
Balloons are happy. And it typically reminds you of when you're a kid, because they're very childlike. And so you have grown adults sitting at a table and they're handed a balloon. They immediately giggle or laugh. They inhale it, the helium, out of the balloon, and they talk like Mickey Mouse. And then there's more laughter, and then they eat a green apple taffy, which is also very childlike. That is a good example of how we try to interject emotion into this dining experience.
I think a growing number of young chefs, for the first time in history, they're thinking about what's going on in the mind of their diners, and that in order to deliver great experiences, they need to know not just about culinary techniques, but also about this science, the psychology of managing expectations.
They start by thinking about what would it be like to be my diner? And it comes down to that very emotional, it's not a technical skill, it's an emotional skill, to understand what it is that will give people pleasure.
It's about the philosophy, it's about the approach of making that 17-course menu, that 20-course menu, a different experience. And I think that's the word that needs to be emphasized, is the experience.
Grant finds inspiration in surprising places. sometimes right under his feet. Literally, right under his feet.
We don't have the luxury of stepping out our front door and having a wooded area where we can forage mushrooms. We have concrete and we have graffiti. We said, you know what, why don't we embrace the urban environment? What can we do? And so we made our own concrete plates, and then we modeled the food to mimic the broken concrete. And then out of that concrete, always in the spring, you find that those little flowers or pieces of grass or weeds or whatever that'll peek their way through. And then at the very end, once it lands on the table, we have these paint cans that the front of the house will shake, and it makes that sound like spray paint makes, and they tag a graffiti of carrot paint onto the dish to finish it.
Chef Grant Achatz co-owns Alinea in Chicago and is well known for his progressive cuisine and novel presentation.
We got balloons that float around, we got aromas, we got mimicking concrete rubble. We do all these things, but at the end of the day, it's food. Has to taste good, has to be satisfying on a physiological level.
One of the defining things of all the greatest chefs using these techniques is what they're thinking about first and foremost is, how does this deliver the flavor of the ingredient to the diner?
With a family background in catering, Grant seemed born to cook.
My mother and father owned a restaurant, going back to when I was 5 years old. My grandmother owned a restaurant before I was even born. So it's very much a family tradition. Going to the restaurant with my mother and father on a daily basis so they didn't have to get a babysitter, and just sort of grew up in that environment and came to realize that I really, really enjoyed it, really loved cooking.
After study at the prestigious Culinary Institute of America, work at the legendary French Laundry in San Francisco, and a thorough grounding in the classics followed. For Grant, cooking in America means a freedom to experiment.
Cuisines are undefinable to a certain degree, especially American cuisine, because our history only goes back so far. It's a melting pot of all the cultures in the world. So, the food here at the restaurant is progressive American. Try to keep pushing boundaries. That's why we're here.
The restaurant's name means off the line. Its logo a typographic symbol signifying a new passage or a new train of thought.
I don't think that it's what we do differently, it's how we put all of those things together to make the cohesive whole different.
Part of that difference is a new set of implements for diners to get to grips with.
Yeah, not really. The serviceware those are just tools, or like what we're looking at is the experience.
Martin's design challenge was to reimagine everyday tableware, although in his view, it's not yet entirely redundant.
I don't believe that the days of the white round plate are numbered. I think it has its place, and I, for one, don't want to eat off of a self-supporting skewer every time I go get a hot dog. But I think what's really valuable is expanding the toolbox and understanding dining experience as an experiential business, not as food business.
That challenged a guest's preconceptions. starts even before they enter the dining room.
They've already come from the streets right here of Chicago, and what they've seen is a black door, nondescript building. They walk into a very disconcerting hallway. It's all these things that make them feel very ill at ease, and then they step through these stainless steel doors, and they're welcomed by one of our team members. You'll notice that it's relatively simple in its approach. No tablecloths, a simple napkin on the table. So we want them to be able to have a template or a place where this blank canvas, as it were, we're here on our tables and the chef can do whatever he wants to make the experience come to life off of that table.
Each night, the restaurant serves an 18-course tasting menu to 90 diners who've paid up to $275 a head in advance. There's no a la carte, and guests are only given the menu when the evening is over.
We want the experience to be somewhat of a surprise. It would be like the magician telling you how he did a trick and then performing it for you. There's no element of intrigue or surprise.
Chef! Doors! Doors!
Grant's reinvention of the dining experience extends to how he runs his kitchen.
By 8 clam, one's going to be a veg. On the foretop, 1 vegan, 1 veg directly on deck.
Yes, chef. Yes, chef.
Order in 4. Birthday.
When I was training, the chef would always expedite. And to me, it's a very misguided delegation of a skill set. The chef is ideally the most skilled cook in the kitchen. So why would he be moving paper all night long? Why wouldn't he be touching and tasting the food? It just doesn't make any sense to me. So I would rather have somebody dedicated to it, hyper-focused on it, making sure it's meticulous and exact, allowing me touching, tasting, plating the food. To me, that's what a chef should do.
Grant's refusal to be bound by convention extends into the dining room and onto the dining table.
As a chef, why am I beholden to the dimensions of a plate? You would go to a cathedral in Europe and you would see the scale of art on these ceilings. And I would go, I can only paint on this big of a canvas. And they get to paint on an entire wall. So come home and go, well, here's basically a giant plate. Why can't we use the entire tabletop as our plate? So make a tablecloth that you can put food on.
The world of the luxury restaurant, the high-end restaurant, the ambitious restaurant is globalized. And so everybody's competing with each other, and they're competing to be special, which means that we are going to see endless innovations like eating straight off the table or a different type of table.
It really does change the way you think about what you're eating. Your preconception of food having to come composed on a plate these days is an outdated notion when you're talking about the world of fine dining. And that's not necessarily going to, in and of itself, make the food better, but it will certainly help you think about the food in a different way.
You know, again, you have the element of performance art. You have the ability to interact directly with the people having the experience. So we came up with a sheet of silicone, and we were able to expand our scale beyond the plate to encompass the entire tabletop.
In the 10 years since it opened, Alinea has had the highest acclaim from diners and critics. But Grant is not content to rest on his laurels.
We have something that is working perfectly, or as close to perfectly as a restaurant can. And we're gonna throw it all away and start over. We're gonna rip apart, literally, physically rip apart the existing restaurant and rebuild it, remodel it, change the food experience, everything about it. We're gonna just blow it up and put it back together. I think that embodies kind of the spirit of what the restaurant's been, and the people that work here is risk takers.
This is London. Its myriad of restaurants offer menus and cuisines from all around the world. And there's no menu more exclusive and possibly less British than in the heart of Mayfair. The prestigious Connaught Hotel is home to a restaurant renowned for fine food. It has 2 Michelin stars. And like the hotel, exemplary service. The hotel and its dining room couldn't be more English. Its food offering, however, couldn't be more French. Welcome to Hélène Darroze at the Connaught.
Okay, just away, guys. 23 with 1 foie gras and 1 calamari.
Yes. Yes.
When French chef Hélène took over the restaurant in 2008, it was as custodian of a national treasure.
When I say I'm the chef at the Connaught, to the taxi driver, for example, I can see a lot of wow, emotion, respect, etc. So that's at this point when I realize what the Connaught is for London and for the UK. Every day when I come to work, it's a pleasure. I love that. So I'm very lucky, in fact.
And hotels and restaurants go hand in hand. When you get to eat at one of these extraordinary restaurants nestled in a hotel, whether it's in a big city or out in the countryside, you get to see so many aspects of the philosophy of that hotel or restaurant. They are both the incarnation of hospitality.
My way of cooking speaks about me, of course, about my experience, about my travels, about my education, my family, my southwest of France, and all the experience that I could have. So it's completely autobiographical, yeah, of course.
Hélène divides her time between London and Paris. In 2015, she was named World's Best Female Chef by Restaurant Magazine, one of the most coveted awards in the business.
When they gave me a call, that was something just incredible. Of course, it's an honor. I hope it's always a hope for a lot of women chefs, because it's not so easy to be a woman in a kitchen. There are not so many women at this level. So I hope that could create some passion and some careers.
To be working with the best female chef of the world, that was an amazing award. The website went down completely as soon as the award went out. The reservations were going completely crazy.
Over 7 years at the Connaught, Hélène has finessed her menu for a modern, luxurious take on her native cuisine.
Food now is something very, very important in life. People like cooking, they know about the product, they go to the market, etc., more and more. So yes, in 7 years, a lot of change happened. And of course, the people we have here in the restaurant, they are here because they want to learn, they want to see something different, they want to have pleasure with food, with wines, and they want to have an experience. I'm really focused on the product. I want to choose the best, I want to cook the best. We are completely dependent of the season. We work around that.
I have amazing guys around me, Alex, Marco. They give me a lot, and I give them a lot, of course, but I learn from them also, and together we build something.
There are a few different ways of cooking, I think, and mine is really inside me, coming from me. I was not in a culinary school, so I have a lot of lack in technique. I have an idea, I have an emotion, I put it on a paper, I discuss it with my chef after, and then we do the testing.
The restaurant caters for up to 100 covers a day and has a unique method of engaging guests with the kitchen's ever-changing roster of seasonal ingredients.
I wanted to find an original way, something different to present the menu, to present this list of ingredients.
And that different way? Solitaire.
We worked with a designer, we put all our ideas on the table, and at the end, the solitaire came up.
Here you have on each marble a name of a product. So Hélène will create a dish around that product. You need to choose 5, 7 or 9 of them by leaving in the middle the one that you would like to try, and you remove the one that you don't want to try. You have the tablet on the side, which is going to give you more details about each of them with main product, supplier and few ingredients that compose the dish.
The menu is the interface between the kitchen and the diner. The best menus are both enticing without revealing everything. You need to keep a bit of mystery back, but also there needs to be enough there to make you feel that this is something you're interested in. It's a balancing act.
At the beginning, people, they were like putting them in the pockets or licking the bowl, say, oh, doesn't taste oyster. Still, customers are having fun with it.
We have straight away a nice feeling with the guests. We can talk with them a lot to make them feel comfortable. And that's what Hélène wanted really to do, to make it unusual. You can't see that in other restaurants.
Up to 45 staff work each shift. For customer service at this level, the devil is in the detail.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Tonight we have 28 covers. We start at 6.
We have briefings with the food description. For us, it's very important to give this information to the customer.
So it's a way of, enhancing the flavor of a meat, a fish, or even a vegetable.
Everybody can put a plate on the table in front of a customer. Everybody can do that. But to be talking about this special ham from Pierre Materon or this special line-caught fish, just fish this morning from Saint-Jean-de-Luz, why do we have that on the menu? Because it's a very special product and we want you to enjoy that.
Why do you use espelette pepper instead of using black pepper?
We test each other. We test each other. For example, for the briefing, we do some question, like little quiz about products, about as well the history of the hotel.
So the espelette pepper is a pepper that grows only in the Basque Country in 10 villages.
I want all the guys here in the dining room to be able to speak about the dishes, to tell a story. And to be nice, we don't want to be too strict. We want to create a relation with the guest.
That we are cooking.
To achieve excellence is hard. There is no way that one day we're going to achieve that and stay there. You have to have the passion every day. Service has to be unintrusive. Service has to be friendly, but not crossing any lines.
Any questions? No. Ready to start? Yes. Service? Yes. Perfect.
We all have our personality, and the guests, they can feel it. We are all different, and that's why it's very special. All the details, the little thing, the way you put a cutlery on the table, the way you talk to a guest, everything can make the difference, but of course it has to be high all the time.
We try to be, of course, very professional, but being very friendly and close to the customers. And I always told to my team that You just need to serve the customers how you would like to be served. It's much nicer to have an extra smile. The taste will taste much better, for sure.
The secret to a great restaurant is a combination of things. It's the atmosphere, it's the design, it's the staff, it's the service, the hospitality, the food. And it's this collaborative process. It's got to make sense, it's got to gel together. But at the end of the day, the guests have to like it. And if the guests like it, then you're on to a winner.
As well as being seasoned with a smile, the constituent parts of Hélène's ever-changing menu are showcased for all to see.
It's beautiful because it's colorful, and we are using all the time this display. The customers, they love to, oh, I don't know what is this pepper. So you can see straight away the waiter going, oh, that is the one. Oh, really, that is the one. You have all the products that we have à la carte. So, of course, the menu is changing constantly depending on the season, depending on what is available.
Everything is served with exacting precision, including noix de Bigorre ham, hand-cranked, tableside.
We bring meat slicer to the table, and it's like a show, and already you've got a visual impact with the machine, and the ham is really interactive with the guests. They love that. So we slice 2 slices like that, and we pull it on the side of our test too like that, and we serve it.
Service-wise, we always like to do, you know, something on the table, something special, something that someone else doesn't do. And this machine is beautiful. We want to, of course, to show it to the customer. To have this movement like a little ballet, the machine is there, now it's gonna go there.
A few questions about it, where it's coming from, when it's been built, and how it's working. Then people are more interested about the ham. It's a special ham because it's not a Bigorre, it's fed randomly, so in the forest with the acorn. So you've got the sweet taste of the acorn in the meat.
Hélène's culinary roots include a family distillery, now operated by her brother, which produces a potent brandy with a distinctive flavour.
We have an amazing Armagnac trolley with different vintages. The oldest one is 1918. The Armagnac trolley goes after, at the end of the meal, you know, would you like to have an Armagnac to finish the meal? Because it's what they do in the family of Hélène. You finish a meal, Armagnac, for sure.
So here what we have is all the collection of the Armagnac of my brother. They are all vintage Armagnac, and they are very special, of course, in my heart because they are from the family. When you have a nice meal, you have to finish with an Armagnac. So that's the tradition, that's our culture. There are not a lot of restaurants where you can find this kind of selection with all this vintage. It's something very special from here.
A bespoke menu, authentic flavours, and luxurious surroundings. A very English restaurant led by the most French of chefs.
I put everything on the table when I cook. That's a part of myself. I want the diners to remember what they have in the plate, the taste, etc. That's really important. The best compliment is when they come back. Some of them, they will perhaps only come once in their life in this kind of restaurant. So we have to be at the level of their expectation. We have to surprise them. We have to deliver something that they will ever remember. During these last 7 years, I was myself here. I'm completely part of the building of the hotel, of the story of the Connaught. It's like a wedding, and I hope it will never stop.